Thank you. You said in response to an earlier question, the best guess at this preliminary stage is a cost of 60 to 90 billion. Others have estimated the cost much higher than that. What assurance can you have that there will not be catastrophic overruns on this project, and that you won't, in fact, be back at a committee like this one, or perhaps the public accounts, to explain yourself?
Well, to have overruns, you need a budget that is established. To have a budget, you need engineering. To have engineering, you need an alignment. Today, we are at the stage of a corridor. We will have an alignment in the fall. We will do a couple of years of engineering. This is when we will have a credible budget. That's why I prefer to use the expression working assumptions. And I'm not advancing this as a budget because the work has not been sufficiently advanced. We will have a budget later on in the process.
Thank you. Understood. And I do understand the inability to have a detailed budget at this preliminary stage. But I think Canadians would be forgiven if they would take little comfort from this. I bring to the committee's attention the example of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Parliamentarians were assured when the government, after they had chased out private capital to build this project, the Trans Mountain Pipeline was purchased, a Crown Corporation structure was created to build it. The cost overrun on that project was, I guess, somewhere between 500 and 1,000%, depending on whether you want to count Kinder Morgan's initial budget or the first budget that was given to Parliament. So I think Canadians need some real assurance that 60 billion doesn't turn into 300 billion. And I think, is it going to, how quickly could you give a real budget that's realistic, that can be adhered to, and that can be successfully reported back to Parliament and the public accounts one day?
Thanks for the question, and appreciate the concern. The best practices are that you need to spend 5 to 10% of your potential cost to have a detailed estimate. That's how big projects get done. If you look at the recipe, what's been done elsewhere, and the book that was actually written on it, you need to invest at least 5 to 8, 10% of it. We're not there yet. So that's why having the alignment later in the year and detailing the engineering and getting the permits is very sensitive before presenting a budget estimate. But before next year, I won't be in a position to have a budget estimate because sufficient work has not been done.
What will the per passenger subsidy be necessary to operate this?
The intent of this project is to be self-sustained from an operational standpoint.
Okay. Thank you. Good. What's the current per passenger subsidy on the existing rail that you operate?
I don't have that, but maybe something that we can find. But where I was going is that
$2 for every one received in passenger fares is, I think, generally understood. I wondered whether you had a
with the 25 million passengers that this project will have, it will cover not only the cost of the operation, but also remove the subsidy being granted to Via Rail in the corridor today. So we will absorb the operational costs as well as the subsidy.
Okay, one certainly hopes that's how this will go down, and again, I hope that you understand the extent to which Canadians will wish to hold the government to account for being able to deliver a project that doesn't become a massive taxpayer boondoggle, as so many others have before. We've become accustomed to the government announcing amounts and assuring or claiming that to Canadians that things will be built, only to find massive overruns. I mean, I don't know how many times in my own city the government re-announced the funds to build the Green Line, which is still not built. It was announced it was a Harper era initial announcement, re-announced. I lost track of how many times by this government, and yet it is not complete, with only a very small portion of that track even being built. So Canadians will have a lot of will want to have assurance that this infrastructure is built and is built under a budget that's adhered to and becomes a financial success in moving Canadians across the country. So any assurance that you
Thank
can
you,
give this
Mr.
committee, I'd be
Kelly.
happy to hear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. That concludes your time.